And we award scholarships for children in Florida so they can attend the kindergarten through 12th grade school that best meets their learning needs. You choose. One scholarship helps pay for private school tuition or assist with transportation costs to attend a public school in another county. And now, Step Up for Students also helps children with special needs with the Personal Learning Scholarship Account. Customize your child's education. Visit stepupforstudents.org to learn more. It could change your child's life. Again, visit us at stepupforstudents.org and find the best learning environment for your child. Every child deserves a chance to succeed.
Talk 1470 is WWNN Pompano Beach and 95.3 FM W237BD Boca Raton, the Health and Wealth Radio Network. 1470 AM and 95.3 FM, the Health and Wealth Radio Network. Listen for A Touch of Gray, the talk show for adults, with Carol Marks and Michael Harrison, Saturdays at 1.
Taking over-the-counter or prescription drugs unnecessarily is a drag, whereas feeling great like you used to is the way it ought to be. Learn how to feel, function, and perform to your full health potential. Tune in to the Dr. Bob Martin Show, Sunday morning at 10 on Talk 1470 WNN.
Thousands of people around the world are learning how extra money can be made from home at Online Trading Academy. Learn about stocks, options, futures, and Forex. Here's a trading tip from one of the instructors.
You see what we've done at the Academy? We've taken this and we've simplified it down to just the basic factors that you need. There's a set of rules. Follow them. There's a scoring system. If it scores greater than 7, take the trade. Set the trade up, walk away, and forget it with 3 major components: a stop, an entry, and a target. You don't know what those mean? Come in, we'll teach you those.
Online Trading Academy. Learn the right way to trade stocks and more. Thousands have learned how extra money can be made from home and how risk is limited. See how it works. Reserve a pair of seats at a free half-day class in Broward and Palm Beach. Call now. Online Trading Academy, 561-674-9800. 561-674-9800. That's 561-674-9800.
Talk here. Talk there. Talk 1470 AM and 95.3 FM, the Health and Wealth Radio Network. WNN.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers specialized comprehensive nursing and rehab programs in neurological, orthopedic, cardiac, pulmonary, and post-operative surgical care and outpatient therapy provided by our highly experienced nurses and therapists. While recovering, you will receive 24-hour licensed nursing care along with dietary and nutrition services. We accept Medicare and other major insurances. Come see the Whitehall Boca Raton difference. Call 561-392-3000 for more information or to schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Do you have a hot new business or an established business that offers great and unique services or products that you want to get the word out? Are you looking to grow your business and you want everyone to hear the buzz about it? Do you have an amazing project or an idea that impacts our community that you want to share and get others involved in? Then you've come to the right place. You're listening to Community Connections with Norma G. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero, and I want to share our passions while connecting with our community. So now let's get ready to hear about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening on Community Connections with Norma G. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Welcome back to Community Connections. I'm your host, Norma Guerrero, and it's Monday, October 23rd, and I'm glad to be back with you all again. I hope everyone had a nice weekend. You are listening to us at 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, as well as on your iHeartRadio app at 1470 AM WNN. And we are streaming live right now on Community Connections with Norma G on Facebook, so you can watch this segment. You can catch it a little bit later. Just go to the page and look it up. And so, like I said before, I hope you all had a nice weekend. I was able to slow down myself a little bit and get some R&R on the lovely, beautiful beaches of the west coast of Florida and Naples this past weekend. And so I highly recommend, if you're feeling a little bit strung out or a little bit busy and need to just slow yourself down, as soon as you get out of the car and enter whatever location in Naples, that town will slow you down. And I think that that's kind of important and part of our day-to-day rushy life here in South Florida. And so I just wanted to share that. It was absolutely beautiful to see a sunset fall rather than the sunrise as we have here on the East Coast. So I want to go ahead and introduce a couple guests that we're going to be having here today. We have a very interesting program. They actually uniquely kind of fit into one another. I didn't necessarily intentionally plan it, but it kind of makes sense. I'm going to be having Dr. Gary Burns, who is a chiropractor locally here in South Florida, very well known, very established, and he is the owner and chiropractor at Boca Raton Chiropractic Center. And then we're going to be having one of our Toastmaster segments. As you've been following the show before, we've had Toastmasters on a few times with Paul Finkelstein, and he's going to be co-hosting with me that segment. And we're going to have Mr. David Eltringham, who is a personal injury attorney, and he's going to be talking about this new initiative that he's going to be putting together and a new way of how he wants to represent his clientele, of how he wants to help them represent them legally, but it also help them with their health and wellness as well, trying to build that relationship. So it'll be very interesting to delve into exactly what direction that David wants to take his firm into. And so first and foremost, I want to introduce Dr. Gary Burns. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. And so I have the good fortune of knowing Dr. Burns for many years now. On personal and social level, but also at a certain point after I started hearing more and more, running into people that how good you are, I actually was struggling with a few of my own aches and pains, and lo and behold, I'm now one of those people that are one of your little songbirds. And so he has helped me on many occasions realign my back as well as my neck over the last 3 years or so. And so I'm excited to have you finally on the show, Dr. Burns.
Well, it's about time. I used to be on WNN many years ago. I think it's about 25 years ago, and it's just nice to be back.
It's nice to be back. And so that was very interesting. So about, I guess a little less than a year ago, I started to launch this show. And I went into your office sometime in either November or December, because I launched the show a year ago, October of this month. And I go, hey, Dr. Burns, I'm starting a new venture. And you point to the wall, and there's a picture of you from way back when with a microphone. And so you have a background a little bit in doing this radio?
Well, it was WNN and WSBR at the time. And I think that's the photo you said, oh, that's when you had hair, Dr. Burns. Wasn't that the photo?
Well,
that's when
yes.
you had hair and you were thin, I believe is what you said.
I didn't say that.
No,
don't
you didn't say that?
Don't throw me under the bus
okay.
like that.
No,
I said
no.
you look like a Kennedy.
Oh, I didn't. I guess, well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you
welcome.
very much.
So tell me, where's your practice located?
4331 North Federal Highway, Boca Raton, Florida, for 35 years now.
For 35 years. And what drew you into that type of clinical practice way back when?
Well, I was in Davenport, Iowa, where I graduated from Palmer Chiropractic, and there was a physician there who was selling her practice in Boca, and I looked at the Rand McNally book on places to live at the time, and it said that Boca Raton was going to be an up-and-coming place to live.
Really?
And so I said, okay, I'm going to do it, and I did.
And you moved you and yourself and your family, or is this before your family?
This was myself, and I believe my daughter was probably 2 at the time. And then they moved down a little bit later after I took my exams and got a little established anyhow. It was a big move.
Really, from Iowa?
From Iowa.
Wow.
I'm from a small town in upstate New York called Maine, New York.
Okay.
Farm town that still doesn't have it's a village that doesn't have a stoplight to this day, and it was, it's a big change going from there to the city of Davenport, Iowa, and then to Boca Raton. And Boca Raton's a little bit different, and it's changed a lot in 35 years.
You know, and as you know, Dr. Burns, you see me usually, I'll come into your office a little twisted up with my back or my neck, and I'm always wearing my scrubs for the most part. And you know I'm an occupational therapist, and I have a long-standing relationship with Whitehall Boca Raton, which is a skilled nursing and rehabilitation facility.
With a very good reputation, I might add.
Yes, and they offer physical therapy, occupational therapy, and skilled nursing services. And they're actually one of the primary title sponsors of this show. And they've been very proactive in wanting to connect with other businesses and get messages out about other ways that people can receive health care. And they've been sending me a variety of guests. And so today you are here on behalf of Whitehall to share about your business and how you help others. And Whitehall Boca Raton is located at 7300 Del Prado Circle South in West Boca Raton, and they can be reached at 561-392-3000. And so after someone has a major injury that requires hospitalization for rehab, that's what a skilled nursing rehab facility is for. Now, a chiropractic care facility that you have, what types of patients are you seeing, and how did it evolve for you over these last 35 years?
Well, 35 years ago, I had my first patient was an FAU PhD, and my second patient was an FAU PhD, and my third patient, and so on, until I had about 6 or 7 patients from Florida Atlantic University. And that was, like I said, 35 years ago. And then they asked me to become a speaker for an environmental group over there. And from there, it really has turned into more of a family practice. They sent their children, and now I'm actually getting the children's children in.
Because you've been around, you've been doing it for a
I've
while.
been around.
Yeah,
I think a couple weeks ago somebody said I've been there forever. And not quite forever, but it seems like it's 35 years. It's a good while.
You've developed a reputation. Usually when I run into people, and I'm not just saying this, I mean, people say, I love Dr. Burns. You know, I enjoy, you've been helping a lot of people, and you seem to have a good knack with your hands and be able to adjust people, and you have like a natural energy sense when you approach people. Tell me a little bit about some of the supplemental ancillary services that you also provide in order to help people get out of pain.
Well, first and foremost, we do chiropractic, then acupuncture, then nutrition. We know that a lot of pain, and our practice is not just pain, it's more holistic, where people come in when they're not in pain.
Preventative.
It's preventative. And, I mean, even with the, epidemic of opioid use, we've been telling them for years, come to us first, and then you won't need
the
medications or surgery. So that's the very premise of chiropractic and acupuncture. A holistic approach where we help people with not just pain or discomfort, but to balance and align their lives in such a way that you're moving, okay? We call it motion, all right?
Right.
And motion.
And that's what you have there on your shirt there.
Yes, I do.
And so motion is kind of like a play on the word motion.
Well, motion is a phonetic spelling of the word M-O-T-I-O-N from the dictionary.
Sure.
M-O long O, S-H-E-N. So I have a trademark on the name and the symbol. The symbol of motion is this.
Yes, and that's your logo.
That's
on your Facebook page.
One of the logos, yeah. And the whole idea, in fact, that I consider movement life. And when we diminish our movement, we are somehow less alive. So everybody that comes in would get adjusted, perhaps some acupuncture, and get moving again. And moving in very exacting ways with stretching and an active resistive exercise, which is essentially weightlifting. And as we gain strength and flexibility, we're more alive.
And do you take x-rays on site there?
Yes, and we also, in many instances, especially when there's a car accident, we'll ask and order an MRI. And from the MRI, we can better see the soft tissue, because a lot of the complaints are not skeletal complaints or bone complaints. Mm-hmm. They're soft tissue, inclusive of nerve and disc problems. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I remember many years ago, I also have a master's degree in biomechanical trauma from Lynn University, locally. And studying car accidents or any biomechanical trauma, there's going to be a condition caused by the matter being out of place, messed up, traumatized, and then there's going to be an inflammatory process. So with the inflammatory process, we put things back together, but we also consider nutrition for that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're hearing a lot of companies, a lot of nutrition supplements that talk about the inflammatory process.
That's correct.
In fact, we're seeing that the inflammatory process is primary in cardiovascular disease, depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's, and even diabetes. First starts with some inflammatory process, and a lot of the autoimmune diseases are really getting epidemic at this point, okay? And like I said earlier, in terms of the opioids, that certainly is epidemic when we're having, 100 or 200 people die a day in this country. It's profound and to some extent criminal, and more and more people should be simply referred to their chiropractor, even physical therapist, to get help with non-drug, non-surgical therapies.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. A more conservative approach.
It is more conservative.
Yeah, it's more conservative
It's not
approach.
just more holistic, it's just common sense. Why give, even the dental community is starting to learn that, you don't give a 30-day supply of an opioid for, taking out the wisdom teeth. Okay, because after 30 days, you can become addicted.
Sure.
Even less than that.
Interesting. I know that we've had several other people on the show over this past year that we've been talked about this subject, and it's when I saw you last week, I said to you, I've taken painkillers before, and they don't touch the pain. Certain types of things, surgical pain,
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing, it'll help reduce that, but these types of pain, most of them don't need you need an anti-inflammatory, or you need an adjustment, or you need some core strengthening types of things to really help the problem, not just mask it with a painkiller.
Well, there's natural anti-inflammatories. I mean, turmeric's getting a lot of play
That's
these
correct.
days, which is our curcumin.
Yes.
And the list goes on and on and on with natural inflammatories as opposed to, the non-steroidal drugs, whether it's Aleve or Tylenol. And we know that those are damaging to the system over time, especially to the liver and kidney.
Let me ask you a question. So, just coincidentally, I did see you a lot this month because I ended up sleeping on a recliner, a very hard recliner.
How many times is a lot, by the way? I'm
6 days on a
last month
during the hurricane.
Oh,
I
see,
was
yes.
I ended up at University Shands with a friend, helping her during a surgery, and ended up extending the stay there because I wasn't able to drive back home. And I don't think the recliner hurt my back. I think it agitated it, because I've had the pain before. So, long story short, as soon as I was able to get back into town, I went to see you to try and get the thing back. And so I went again last week to get, a follow-up visit. And so I stopped and got dinner, and the gentleman behind the counter goes, "Oh, how are you doing today?" I go, "Oh, well, actually, I just got an adjustment and actually just went to get a massage to try and, get myself back in alignment." And so the guy goes to me, "Oh, man, I'm really afraid of chiropractic care. I mean, I think it's a hoax. Do you believe in it?" I said, "Well, it's helped me in the past, so I do believe in it. So for me personally." And so when people say that to you, how do you answer that question?
I don't hear it very often anymore.
Okay.
Okay, it used to be, there was a committee on quackery, all right? And we don't hear so much of that anymore. I have medical doctors that come to see me all the time now, and their families. And the younger the medical community is, the more that they know the benefits of chiropractic, even from the research. So over time, you just hear less and less and less, and more people have had, direct experiences. It's like anything else, though. You can have a good experience or a bad experience with a medical doctor or a physical therapist. And I have 5 chiropractors I use. Okay,
For
and
yourself.
I have 3 acupuncturists. I have nutritionists, and tomorrow morning at 6:30 in the morning, my personal trainer will be over. Okay, and
All right.
I need help. Okay, I need to leverage myself. Okay, because if I didn't have the personal trainer, I would sleep in. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay, and now, when I asked you if I could mention it, when I say leverage, having a personal trainer, even daily, if you can do it, is a great way to go. It gets you to do it, or have a workout friend or buddy, a walking buddy, a swimming buddy. And the next thing, and I said I would mention it, is the
what you got?
211 here. You read that, then I won't have to put my glasses on.
Okay, so here on February 11th, 2018, save the date, and this is a Embrace Race, the EMB race, helping people with all disabilities. And what the 8th annual Embrace Race, Sunday, February 11th, 2018. It's a 5K, 1 mile family walk run. 5K and 1 mile in Boca Raton at FAU. And so you're involved with this?
The people that are doing it are wonderful people. And what I'm doing is we're using that. We're going to create a Motion team.
Okay.
And they can call my office, 561-391-2221. And then what you do for the next few months is you walk and you train. And walking's really the best. Walking, swimming, and cycling are the best, both aerobically and to have a gravitational, effect as well. And it's really not
lower
far.
Impact.
Walking, and it's only 5K, which, I asked Siri, and 5K is, I guess, 3.11 miles.
Yes.
And if you want, you just go 1K, which is 0.62 miles. So it's not far, and that means you can bring your family as well, and it's a fun family day. And my point is, if you don't do something for yourself, with this, you can actually do something for others and yourself. So again, leverage yourself. In order to be healthy, nutrition, exercise, rest, emotional stability, and what I mean by normal nerve supply is to get adjusted, get acupuncture if need be to balance the energy or life force, we call it chi, and then walk, swim, bike, do something aerobic. And all of the research, not just suggests, but it's really factual at this time, the number one thing to do for every disorder on the planet, for the most part, is to move. And if you do high-intensity interval training, then it actually changes, we call it plasticity, changes the brain cell, the neurons in the brain, and you become more clear, mental clarity. A lot of people get this foggy sort of feeling, especially as we grow older. There's actual brain changes with exercise, and fast exercise, where you crank up the heart rate. A lot of these, new places to exercise really are dependent upon a fast heart rate above your target zone in some instances.
Right.
So we're using this because it's such a great cause.
Yeah, I want to read. It's a SAF mission, Stand Among Friends is a nonprofit organization that enhances the lives of people with disabilities. Our programs help them to transition to greater independence, learn work, technology, and social skills while emphasizing their talents, interests, and education. I mean, it sounds like the definition of occupational therapy, quite frankly, of what we do when we're physical therapy rehabilitation to help people adapt to having a disability and then reintegrating back into the community.
Correct.
And so that's what, we do. So
well, I think that you should be on our team.
Well,
Team Motion.
Team Motion.
And you can walk.
Yeah. Well,
and walking will help all of your ailments as well.
It really does.
You have.
It really does help, And I had the pleasure of taking a walk on the beach this morning because I said to myself, I'm this close to it. Let me get on it. And so your practice, you said, is located in East Boca between
Spanish River and Yamato, 4331 North Federal. Also called Sanctuary Chiropractic.
Yes.
Boca Raton Chiropractic Center. And
you have a website?
I have a few websites. Boca Raton Chiropractic Center is one website. MO-SHEN is another website for Motion. And then I'm starting to learn more and more about websites and streaming. And,
yeah.
I told you earlier that I had a pretty good face for radio, but
well, I brought you into this new era, and so as you can see, as you heard Dr. Burns speak, he's a very knowledgeable, a very well-studied gentleman in the practice of medicine through chiropractic care, and so that's why I enjoy going to you as my doctor in that respect, because I find that you tend to cut right to the chase and go, this is what I think you needed to do, this is what I think, what I recommend, and you care a lot about your patients and wanting them to feel better. And so Usually when someone has chiropractic care, how many sessions do you usually recommend?
Everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
Especially for the car accidents, because they're so traumatized. The inflammation is,
so acute,
profound. And with the chiropractic adjustment, it can be very, very gentle. My mother will be 89 this week. She'll be very happy that I told everybody her age. But I'm proud that she is moving great, especially after having fallen in her kitchen a while back and broke a rib in her wrist, and she's doing great. We also have laser, which helped her tremendously. The cold laser in the office is wonderful for inflammation and pain.
Yes, it is.
So
yes.
with chiropractic, acupuncture, cold laser, and then nutrition, and then getting people back to mobility, she's doing great, and we advise that for everybody. Again, and like instead of telling people, let's put some heat on it, we often do ice and arnica, cold laser adjustments, and acupuncture.
Great, and a little massage while you're at it a little bit as well.
Muscle work is so important.
Yes. Well, Dr. Burns, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing with us today about your specialty. And once again, you can share with us where your office is located and the phone number and how to reach out to you.
561-391-2221. And the address is 4331 North Federal Highway, Boca Raton, Florida.
Fantastic. And I hope to have you back on the show again, and maybe right before we go to do this walk around FAU.
We're going to do that.
All right. Well, sounds like a plan. So we'll be right back with David Eltringham and Paul Finkelstein to be talking about Eltringham Law Group and Toastmasters. And once again, I want to thank Whitehall Boca Raton for helping put together the show on. They are located at 7300 Del Prado Circle South at 561-392-3000 and at www.whitehallboca.com. We'll be right back with Paul and David.
Are you having trouble sleeping or staying asleep? Feel like you've tried everything and nothing works? Studies show if we are out of balance or too acidic, it can directly affect our sleep. Now, a new doctor-formulated solution is available directly to you. Alkaline Boosters is a fast and natural way to get a restful night's sleep. Take advantage of this promotional offer to buy your Alkaline Boosters today and start sleeping better tomorrow. Call 1-800-994-5361. That's 1-800-994-5361. Do you suffer from back, joint, or muscle soreness? Recovery with HydroFX is the doctor-recommended all-natural solution you've been looking for. Now, available in the U.S., Recovery with HydroFX is a specialized product for headaches, back, joint, and muscle soreness. Get back to feeling great today and order your 30-day supply of Recovery with HydroFX. Call 1-800-994-5361 and take advantage of this limited radio offer. That's 1-800-994-5361.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers specialized comprehensive nursing and rehab programs in neurological, orthopedic, cardiac, pulmonary, and post-operative surgical care and outpatient therapy provided by our highly experienced nurses and therapists. While recovering, you will receive 24-hour licensed nursing care along with dietary and nutrition services. We accept Medicare and other major insurances. Come see the Whitehall Boca Raton difference. Call 561-392-3000 for more information or to schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
Thank you for listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We're the place where we talk about your business, a product, an idea, or a project to get the word out to our community. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero. Today we are sharing our passions while connecting with our community. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 5 to 6 p.m. to join me, Norma G., and our guests to find out about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Can't wait to see you there. Now let's rejoin the show. Welcome back to Community Connections. I'm your host, Norma Guerrero, and today is Monday, October 23rd, and we are here live in the studio at WNN, the Health and Wealth Network. And you're listening to us on 95.3 FM, 1470 AM, as well as on your iHeart app at 1470 WNN AM. And so we are also streaming live on Facebook at Community Connections with Norma G, as well as on Periscope at AMP2 TV as well. You can find us. And so we are going to be interviewing once again. We're going to be here co-hosting with Paul Finkelstein, who is one of the leaders of the the West Boca Toastmasters here in West Boca. That's right?
You are correct.
Welcome back, Paul. Thank you so much for coming back.
And also, I'm glad to be here for the party. You did know that this is a party, right?
Well, I did hear that it's somebody's birthday today or this week.
Just yesterday, Toastmasters turned 93 years old.
93 years old. Wow. I mean, that is it's from the early 19th century, right?
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Very long time.
And way back when, it was just men.
It was just men.
In the 70s, it was all, then it became open to women.
I think a lot of things happened in the 70s, if I recall. I was born in 1970, and I know that, I don't know when we were able to learn to vote finally, women and all those things, but I think it was right around that time, the 60s or something like that.
Sounds right.
Yes. And so I also want to take a moment to introduce David Eltringham. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Great.
Excellent.
You are a personal injury attorney located here in South Florida at Eltringham Law Group.
That's absolutely correct, right.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I know that you're very involved with Toastmasters as well.
Yes, I've been in Toastmasters, I guess, for about a year now, coming up on a year. And it's really been one of the unexpected pleasures of my life. It's been a great thing. It's been transformational for me in many respects. And I look forward to answering some of Paul's questions here.
Yeah, you know, and it's been, we've had a few guests in here through this Toastmasters, and they all seem to be having a very similar experience of positivity. And so, Paul, I'm going to hand the mic over to you and share with us a little bit, again, what Toastmasters is, because there's always going to be someone that doesn't know anything about it.
That is very good. I knew you were going to say that.
Yes.
And I do want to lead in with that Toastmasters, to me, is three things. And that's confidence, leadership, and would you believe listening? To be a better public speaker, you need to be a better listener.
And Toastmasters is a class? Is it a group? What is it?
They actually call it a club. I think that's because it makes it feel like it's a casual, informal club.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's a lot of structure at a Toastmaster meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good, very good. And so, like I mentioned in the past, I attended one of the Toastmasters, and I was just kind of just pleasantly surprised that it's a club that helps people to, no matter what level they're at in their personal life or professional life, in their communication skills, bringing them to the next level. And I found that very fascinating because this here, in a sense, this studio here is a place where we communicate, a message. And so it's, and I know a lot of people are very nervous and shy about communication.
Are you reading my mind? I'm not nervous and shy. I like being here, but at the same time, we all do get a small touch of it when we start out and warm up, like starting a run, as I was talking with David just before coming on the show today.
And so, how did you connect with David? What had you bring David here today?
Well, I found Paul first. And
did we meet first at a conference?
We did. Yeah, we met down in Miami earlier this year, I guess probably in March or April, something like that. Mm-hmm. And we just happened to be sitting at the same table. It was the district competition, and we just really hit it off. And I took his number, and then we kind of traded emails over the months, and then finally we kind of got it together.
So was it a professional connection, like he could have utilized your attorney services type of stuff, or was it this Toastmaster connection that you wanted to, what is it that drew you guys together, if you will?
I think it was a
little of both.
Yeah, I was going to say the same exact
answer.
I'm
pretty, what you call, you've noticed that I like social media, and that's probably, social media and Toastmasters is my door opener for just about anybody.
Oh, I see. Very good.
And it opened my doors, because we were, I guess, one of the things in the land of Google, social media has become really important in establishing a presence for any business. You need to be out there. You need to be on Facebook. You need to really put yourself out there. And for somebody who's running and operating a business, that's very daunting. And that's sort of was the first connection I had with Paul, was like, hey, maybe you can help me with some of our social media. And he's a real expert in that. And then one thing led to another, and here we are.
Yeah, it's so true.
So we have a few questions to ask David.
Okay.
Oh boy, I'm on the spot.
All right.
A lot of questions, right?
Okay.
But there's one question that really comes to mind, and it didn't even come to me at first. I thought all people were like me when I joined Toastmasters, and I was in my career, I was working for at least 10, 15 years, and I thought, well, I just want to improve, and I'll be better at public speaker so I can go out and do more workshops and feel confident. And then as I was talking and doing some more interviews, I learned that there were actually other business people that I probably could say the same thing, that they joined Toastmasters because of necessity. And so that lead into that first question is, did you just want to improve a little bit or a lot of it, or was it really out of necessity to join Toastmasters?
Well, I think for me, there was sort of a recognition that even though I'm a lawyer, I'm human. Mm-hmm. And I have the same reaction to public speaking, and my courtroom experience had been fairly limited in terms of you're not really in front of a very large group typically. That's more on what you might see on TV. Mm-hmm. And I realized that for me, as the group got larger, that I would get those same bit of nerves, the anxiety, and it was something that I wanted to deal with. And then in my experience in Toastmasters, I found out that that's pretty much everybody. And we are, I guess from an evolutionary standpoint, pre-programmed to have a very strong response in terms of adrenaline and cortisol that we get hit with immediately before we go into any type of public speaking. It's one of those things that everybody gets, and that you can really work by practicing in front of groups to sort of quell those fears. And
yeah,
it's been very, very helpful.
I mean, I remember when I first met you a month back that you made that comment that, you know, you're when you're practicing your law in the courtroom, it could be a small few people, but it's the other adventures in your life through your firm that you found yourself in front of larger groups, that's where it wasn't actually the actual practicing law, it was the presentations of other aspects.
That's exactly right.
That were challenging, that were giving you those nerves of wanting to be able to do that. And where is your practice located?
We're here on Federal Highway, very close to you. We're 233 South Federal Highway in Boca. And we're in a building called the Boca Grande, and everybody knows it, I guess, because we're right near Raw Juice. Not to promote my the other people in the chamber here, but that's sort of the landmark that people are familiar with.
And the number and the website to your office?
Our number is 561.
Right to the camera.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
561-338-0420, and our website is www.eltlaw.com.
Interesting. Go ahead.
Oh, ready for another question?
Sure, fire away.
You probably answered a touch of that and a lot of the other questions. That could segue. Many wish they had heard of Toastmasters very early in life. Would you have wanted to learn as far back as, say, high school, or just as you launched your career?
I would say that Toastmasters is on the long list of things that if I could go back in time and tell young Dave, hey, this is a really good idea. The best reference point I have for that is I'm involved and I work with a business coach, a guy named Dan Sullivan. He's one of the top business coaches in the world. And Dan has shared with us that when he was about 14 years old or so, that he had a real fear of speaking publicly. And he was a bit of an introvert, and that he perceived at 14, imagine you, that this was holding him back. And he was going to do something about it. So I guess I don't even know if he was old enough to get into Toastmasters at that point. And somehow he got himself in, and he happens to be one of the best communicators really in the world. I mean, unbelievable. And he really does credit that to Toastmasters. And my thought is, if I could certainly go back in time, if it was good enough for Dan, it's good enough for me. It makes a lot of sense.
And how did you get to that first Toastmasters meeting?
I was in a business networking group with another lawyer in our community, and he would come into the group and he would rave about Toastmasters.
Okay.
And I was like, I was a little skeptical. It sounded like a cult. I wasn't really sure. And then he kept coming in, he kept talking about it, and he's somebody I respected a lot. So I said, why not give it a chance? And he was the president of now what is now my club. And I went in there and I was like, wow, this is it. This is for me. These guys were so professional and so well put together. And it was really an experience. When I thought about my prior public speaking, there was always a pat on the back, hey, good job. And there was no sort of looking at it and really deconstructing what I did. And that's what Toastmasters does, because you get what they call the gift of instant feedback. And you give your speech, and then you get to hear what was really good. And then you get to hear not what was bad, but areas where you could ideally improve upon. And it's in a non-threatening manner. You feel good because you come to know these people, they're your friends. So when they're giving you the feedback, it doesn't make you feel bad. It's just part of that learning process and part of that growth.
Fascinating.
As he was talking, you're outnumbered now again. There's 4 Toastmasters in the room today.
4, yes, we're not including the people off screen. So, yes. I don't know what I need to do to be one, but...
And I'm about to say a word that the counter, when you had mentioned the cult of Toastmasters, or the new terminology when you first learn about what happens in a Toastmaster meeting, is one phrase that was somebody in the audience in a Toastmaster meeting, their sole job as an counter is to count how many times you say, or
or
That's the dreaded
Who says
one.
that? I don't know anybody that says that.
Good. You have another question?
Let's ask David another question.
I'm in the hot seat.
Now, Toastmasters this is a new term that you might not be familiar with, or maybe you have. It actually has clubs called gavel clubs and other programs for high school students that are not working yet. Those clubs are actually run just like a Toastmasters club, but they're called gavel clubs for people under 18. Would you have attended one of these gavel clubs when you were younger, or were you into sports, or you had a busy schedule when you were younger?
Well,
into the books.
I could lie and say I had a busy schedule, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't true in high school. I think for me, and answering the question really candidly, I don't know that I would have had the confidence to join something like Toastmasters. I think that if I could go back in time and look at me all those years ago, it would have been something that was pretty daunting, a really big challenge. And I don't know if I would have had really the right mindset to appreciate
as a teenager
what an incredible opportunity that is.
So you're saying that a gavel club is something that's organization in the high schools?
It's within Toastmasters, but you can start a gavel club anywhere as long as there's at least 3 minimum.
Because when I think of the teenagers, don't they have like a debate club?
They have debate, but it's not the same structure as a Toastmaster meeting. They literally have a gavel club that's the same structure of a Toastmaster meeting, where you have speeches and evaluators and general evaluators.
Interesting. And so, I was thinking about okay, so you went to law school, and I know that so much is probably spent, obviously, on the law and the, what's the word I want to use for that deductive reasoning, that really interesting way that, you have a prosecutor, you have a defendant type of attorney. So your brain has to think a different way than the average person, as far as, we have to prove, it's your job to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, those types of things. So I imagine it's an amazing mind game that happens for attorneys. But during that course of that school, is there not any type of public speaking type of classes that are in the curriculum?
In law school, they have something called moot court, and that gives you an opportunity to argue, I guess, what you would call appellate briefs, that kind of thing. And then there's, I guess, a panel, and it's set up much like an appellate court. Now, in terms of preparing you to, say, speak to a very large audience or potentially a large audience, totally different things. And so I did the moot court. That was
I was seeing in your background here that you're from New York and you got your bachelor's at USC.
I did.
In California.
I was proud of that.
Trojan.
Yeah, I am.
Yes,
yeah.
And you got your law degree back in New York City.
I did.
And then you ended up back in LA, doing international law.
Well,
but during that process, you were part of the Member Moot Court Society.
Well, moot court was really limited to law school, and it was an exercise in law school that was to prepare you more for a courtroom type of experience, and then and it really was confined to dealing with appellate issues, complex appellate issues, that are really different, I think, than the
Just
stuff
public speaking.
Yeah, again, it's still very different. I don't think that anything in law school really prepares you for public speaking like Toastmasters does, and which is kind of ironic when I think about how much you talked about the expense of law school and how much was spent on law school, where Toastmasters, for such a really small, comparatively very nominal investment, you can totally change your life with it. And the way you speak, the way you think, and really the way you present, and also, and I think Paul's point, the way you listen, is totally different.
It's very, very true. Right. I have found many of those qualities happen as a result of doing the show. Paul, I'm going to take a commercial here for a minute, and so I wanted to introduce you a little bit more formally as well. You are the owner of Competitive Communicators.com?
You actually mentioned owner, but basically I'm the club sponsor of a Toastmaster club that happens to meet online.
Okay, tell me, what is the name of that club?
And that club is called Competitive Communicators.
Okay, and how do we find it?
And you can find that at competitivecommunicators.com.
Interesting. And Eltringham Law, where do we find that again?
It's right down the street, or up the street, I should say, on Federal Highway 233, South Federal Highway.
And the number?
Is 561-338-0420.
Great. We're going to be right back with Paul and David, and we're going to resume this conversation about how his particular law firm is engaged in the community, and getting a little bit about some of the initiatives that you want to move forward moving into the rest of this year and into the new year. So we'll be right back with Community Connections.
Are you having trouble sleeping or staying asleep? Feel like you've tried everything and nothing works? Studies show if we are out of balance or too acidic, it can directly affect our sleep. Now, a new doctor-formulated solution is available directly to you. Alkaline Boosters is a fast and natural way to get a restful night's sleep. Take advantage of this promotional offer to buy your Alkaline Boosters today and start sleeping better tomorrow. Call 1-800-994-5361. That's 1-800-994-5361. Do you suffer from back, joint, or muscle soreness? Recovery with HydroFX is the doctor-recommended all-natural solution you've been looking for. Now, available in the U.S., Recovery with HydroFX is a specialized product for headaches, back, joint, and muscle soreness. Get back to feeling great today and order your 30-day supply of Recovery with HydroFX. Call 1-800-994-5361 and take advantage of this limited radio offer. That's 1-800-994-5361.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers specialized comprehensive nursing and rehab programs in neurological, orthopedic, cardiac, pulmonary, and post-operative surgical care and outpatient therapy provided by our highly experienced nurses and therapists. While recovering, you will receive 24-hour licensed nursing care along with dietary and nutrition services. We accept Medicare and other major insurances. Come see the Whitehall Boca Raton difference. Call 561-392-3000 for more information or to schedule a tour with our admissions team, and we will answer any one of your questions. You can also visit our website at whitehallboca.com. For more information, call 561-392-3000. That's 561-392-3000. Whitehall Boca Raton is committed to provide you with the best medical care.
Thank you for listening to Community Connections with Norma G. We're the place where we talk about your business, a product, an idea, or a project to get the word out to our community. I'm your host, occupational therapist Norma Guerrero. Today we are sharing our passions while connecting with our community. Give us a call at 888-565-1470 and join our conversation. Don't forget to tune in every Monday night at 5 to 6 p.m. to join me, Norma G., and our guests to find out about what's hot, what's new, and what's happening in our community. Can't wait to see you there. Now let's rejoin the show. Welcome back to Community Connections. I'm your host, Norma Guerrero, and I am here with Paul Finkelstein, who is one of the leaders at CompetitiveCommunicators.com, which is one of the clubs out through Toastmasters International, correct?
Correct.
That's right. And I'm also here with attorney David Eltringham with Eltringham Law Group. And so, David, thank you so much for taking the time today to coming in for the show and sharing with us how Toastmasters has impacted your life as well as improved your communication skills as an attorney and as also some of the private adventures that you've been working on. And so take a moment at first to explain for us What exactly is, I mean, it's kind of given what it is, a personal injury attorney, but what is your perspective on how you describe the type of law you practice?
Well, we represent injured victims really throughout the state of Florida, and we represent them typically against insurance companies. And anytime somebody gets into any type of accident, regardless of whether it's a car accident, maybe it's an accident at a shopping mall, or a dog bite, it could be really anything. And what I always tell people is to get a good understanding of what we do is, if you know someone who has been injured in an accident and they think it might be somebody else's fault, we're the guys to call, because what we do is we'll investigate it, we'll assess the situation, and we'll also assess the legal responsibility, or what we call liability, of that person or company or whoever that may have somehow caused or contributed to this accident. And then what we do is we represent these injured victims throughout a sort of complex process, and ultimately everything is geared toward, in the first instance, helping these our clients get better from their injuries.
Sure.
And then hopefully, once they're better, having them in a situation where we can secure a financial recovery on their behalf from the insurance company.
Yeah, and as I mentioned to you before, I'm an occupational therapist, and I have been doing rehabilitation for over 20 plus years, and I have treated many people that have been injured on a work site accident, a car accident, a fall off a roof, whatever it is. And so I know that it's a process of not only perhaps a litigation, but it's also a process of rehabilitation. You know, and so those two things come together, of getting medical costs, out of work expenses, you know, covered. And, you know, if somebody is liable, and it's not someone intentionally tried to hurt someone, accidents happen.
No, I would say 99% of what we do is really just simple accidents. Somebody wasn't careful, they weren't paying attention. The biggest one that I can think of that I think everybody can relate to is distracted drivers. There are lots of rear-end collisions every day, and these rear-end collisions can often produce pretty significant injuries for the victims. And it's never intentional. It's somebody's texting, they're on the phone, they're distracted, whatever it is. And what I try to help the clients to understand is, we're not really going after people. And I think that's a kind of a misperception of what we do. We almost exclusively represent injured victims where there's an insurance company who's ultimately financially responsible.
Sure.
The person who caused the accident or contributed to it, it's their insurance. And the reason they bought that insurance was to buy peace of mind, to know that if they ever had an accident and hurt somebody, that person would be taken care of. And it's our job to make sure that the insurance company takes care of our clients.
And how, in a highly competitive market, how does your practice differentiate from other practices? Or what is your personal mission to make yourself, differentiate?
I would say it starts with really what we don't do. We don't do the billboards. We don't do the TVs on, the commercials on TV. Really, our practice has been built largely on what I call organic word of mouth. It's happy clients. One client at a time. We do a good job, and then they refer us. Different people in the business community that know of us, know our work, they refer to us, and we're trying to be something that is different. And all these firms that are doing what they do, that's fine, but what we're looking to do is we want to be unique, and I think we are unique in that our practice really is focused on getting the clients better as our primary mission. You see in the television advertising, especially and on the billboards, money, money, money. And the reality is that the vast majority of injured victims do not get rich from the process, regardless of which law firm they choose. This is largely controlled by the fact that, especially in automobile accidents, the typical coverage that most individuals or what I would call personal insurance policies have is between $0 and $100,000. And the coverage, the amount of coverage that the at-fault has is typically almost, think of it as a ceiling on what the cases could be worth, or a maximum. And then the insurance company, what they do is they try to work back from there. So if the coverage is $100,000, which is usually, about the highest that you see. I mean, you see other policies here and there, but talking on average, I would say that 90% is between somewhere between zero, because some people don't have insurance, or if they do have insurance, it doesn't cover the injured victims that they hurt, all the way up to 100. And so what we do, I think that's different, is we get our clients to understand, look, you're not going to get rich off of this. Let's just be honest. I'm sorry about what you saw on TV and the billboards, but the reality is, in most cases, you're not going to get rich. But let's focus on the one thing we can control. That's getting you better. And that's where we really, the doctors that we would recommend, or the doctors that we know, are the same doctors that we would go to ourselves, that I would go to, that I would send my wife to, or my daughter to.
Very, very interesting, and I know that we're going to probably be having more time to kind of delve into exactly, what message, you want to put across, what values you want to put across to your firm. And so I look forward to being able to explore that a little bit deeper with you. I know that Paul has another question related to Toastmasters, and so why don't we get one more question in with Paul, and then I'll ask one final question, and then we'll wrap it up here for today.
I'm going to go with my favorite question, and I know you've heard it before. If you could go back in a time machine with your new Toastmaster insights, number one, would you? And if so, I'd imagine we'd alter our future just a tad, maybe have a different prom date, a different career path, maybe further ahead in our careers. Share some of your insights of what you might do differently, or would you not change a thing?
Oh, I love this question. I think for me, the main thing that I hear over and over again that people, including myself, get from Toastmasters is just confidence. And it takes a lot of confidence to get up in front of a large group, or even a small group sometimes, and speak.
Sure.
And what you get through Toastmasters is this confidence that you're doing something that's new, that you couldn't do before, that used to terrify you. And now you're comfortable, and you're like, wow, I got this. And I think for me, if I could go back in time, I would, in my little time capsule, I would be saying just those things that you were scared, the prom date, or whoever, the one you really wanted to ask but you were afraid, or whatever it is that you want to do in life, just do it and be confident. And I think that that's the biggest thing that holds people back from reaching what I call their true potential, is a lack of confidence. And I think Toastmasters definitely gives you that.
Well, yes, when he first said, describe what is Toastmaster at the beginning of the show, this segment, the first thing he said was confidence. And so I know that you mentioned to me as well that you want to start doing briefly, and we can get into it further on another show, that you want to be doing a charitable initiative with some of the proceeds that you're going to get through your law firm come the new year?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. What we're working on now is we want to be better community citizens. And I've been involved in my local Rotary Club, and my local Rotary Club, it's been the Downtown Boca Club. It's been an amazing experience, and their initiative is health and wellness. And everything that club does has been about health and wellness, and they support various fundraisers and other initiatives throughout Boca Raton and the immediate surrounding area. And I just see the impact that this club has had on these people. And for me, what we wanted to do is start our own, and it's called ELG Gives, but I'll tell you about that next time.
Yes, ELG for Eltringham Law. And so tell us one more time, how do we find you, David, and if we wanted to reach out to you for any of our personal injury needs?
Okay, we're at 233 South Federal Highway, and actually Suite 105. I didn't mention that last time.
Yes.
And we're in Boca Raton, and we're easy to find, and our website is www.eltlaw.com.
Well, Paul, I want to thank you so much for bringing in this very involved guest, David, that's involved in the community and that's wanting to make an impact, and focusing on not just getting people the monetary needs, but also the health and wellness. And so thank you so much for tuning into Community Connections. We will be back again next week. And so thank you, gentlemen, for being here today.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you looking for short-term inpatient rehabilitation or long-term care placement for yourself or a loved one after illness or injury? Whitehall Boca Raton Skilled Nursing and Rehab Facility has served South Florida for over 35 years. With care and oversight from our experienced physicians, Whitehall Boca Raton offers